welcome to our Focus on Sports. I'm Alexis Molina.
And I'm Holly Casina. We start off with Fresno State football's spring practice opening up earlier this week. The Fresno State football team is preparing a high-anticipated 2022 season. The Bulldogs returned multiple stars from last year's 10-win season. Gabe Camarillo has more on the team as they begin spring practice.
The sounds of pads smashing into each other and a coach's favorite whistle can only mean one thing. Fresno State football is back for spring practice.
Well, it's day one with helmets, so you really can't evaluate too much off of that, except for just the energy, the mental preparation, which that's what spring football is about. It's about learning, it's about making mistakes, it's about defining the expectation on what we're looking for.
The expectations are high for Fresno State football this season, with Tedford back in charge and Hayner back under center.
Yeah, no, I've been telling some people, and I mean the expectation is a New Year's Six bowl game and a Mountain West championship, and I mean I'm sure there's a bunch of other teams saying that across the country.
The Bulldogs have 14 spring practices and a spring preview on April 30th. It's a time for newcomers to introduce themselves to coaches and returners like running back Jordan Mims to improve their game.
Yeah, just, tighten up my game, work on that bursting cut and, getting away from defenders and stuff like that. So that's probably my biggest focus.
It's also time for a largely new coaching staff to install their game plans and philosophies. There is one thing the Bulldogs don't need to learn: energy. From Bulldog Stadium, Gabe Camarillo, Fresno State Focus.
Gabe Camarillo joins us now to talk a little more about the beginning of spring practice. Gabe, how are we feeling?
I'd say the dogs are back together. That's exactly how John Baxter described it to me when I talked to him on the first day of spring practice. He said that it's the band that's back together. The coaches are back from different stops around the country. You got Jethro Franklin, defensive line coach, Tim Skipper, linebackers coach, Kevin Cole is the defensive coordinator. All these are former coaches that are either from Fresno State that played there or coached there in the late 90s, early 2000s. Jeff Tedford's back as well, and that's what has Fresno State football fans energized. Jeff Tedford, in his first stint with the Fresno State Bulldogs, led the Bulldogs to a Mountain West championship, and that's exactly what Fresno State's hoping to do this season. Talking to some of the players after the first day of spring practice, they said that that's the goal. Jake Hayner specifically said the goal is a New Year's Six Bowl and a Mountain West championship, and they have the pieces to do it. We've seen Jake Hayner throw for over 4,000 yards. We've seen Jordan Mims have a lot of games over 150 rushing yards, and we've seen the offense explode. To me, the secret to winning a Mountain West championship is, can the defense perform? Can they make big plays and double up with the offense to lead the Dogs to the promised land?
Thanks for joining in, Gabe. We'll see you back here in a bit. The Sweet 16 round of March Madness begins tonight. The Cinderella story of the tournament so far is the 15th seed St. Peter's. After a huge win over 2nd seed Kentucky, the Peacocks will face 3rd seed Purdue tomorrow afternoon. The Baylor Bears became the first #1 seed eliminated. Tomorrow's nightcap will be intriguing as 11th seed Iowa State takes on number 10 Miami in the only double-digit seed matchup of the Sweet 16.
Deshawn Watson has been traded from the Houston Texans to the Cleveland Browns. But Watson might not be able to play this year for the Browns because of 22 civil lawsuits filed against him last year alleging sexual assault and harassment. 2 weeks ago, NFL.com reported that a Texas grand jury did not find enough evidence to charge Watson with sexual misconduct, but he still has the civil lawsuits to deal with. After the break, we'll look back at how the Diamond Dogs did this weekend.
And we'll talk about former Bulldogs Devonte Adams and Derek Carr reuniting.
At Fresno State, being bold means committing to something greater than yourself. It's learning by doing and nurturing leaders to advance our shared future. It's using research to create a better life for those around us and healing those who need us most. These are our stories, because at Fresno State, bold begins here.
Success. At Fresno State, it's no secret. It's discovering new ways to change our world. It's creating opportunities as diverse as our community itself. It's in the distinction of our graduates as they lead us into the future. Success is no secret at Fresno State. It's our mission.
Did you know that Fresno State has a rodeo team? It's ranked top 5 out of all West Coast regional teams. The Bulldoggers rodeo team's hard work is paying off.
The Bulldoggers traveled to Coalinga this weekend for their competition. However, this team has more to focus on than just their events.
The sport is more than just a single event. It's everything in between. It's the mental game, it's the preparation, it's the taking care of your horses, it's the being on this team actually that I really enjoy.
The pride this team feels about being a Bulldog is easy to see, especially when it comes to their rival, Cal Poly.
I actually did get accepted into Cal Poly, but I thought being a Bulldog was more important because, what could I say? Go Dogs.
Wilbur recently got an injury as a result of calf roping gone wrong, but that didn't stop her from doing what she loves.
I did break my nose, and I recently just had surgery Tuesday of this week to get the bones back in place, but I'm here and going strong.
Rodeo is something the members of the Bulldoggers have been passionate about since they were young.
Well, it's my life. I've been doing it since I was 7 years old. I wouldn't be me without rodeo. I really wouldn't. I can't identify myself any other way.
Currently, the men's rodeo team is ranked 2nd, while the women's team is ranked 4th in West Coast Regionals.
They are halfway through their season, however, they do have some competitions left. For those interested in coming and visiting the places that they're competing, they do have information about that on the Bulldoggers Facebook page. Live in Coalinga, City Morgan, Fresno State Focus.
The team has been pushing through any and all hurdles that come their way in order to focus on conquering their goals both individually and as a team.
There are many Fresno natives who have made a name for themselves in sports. I got the chance to talk with Jalen Johnson, Fresno native and quarterback for the Chicago Bears, on how he is giving back to the people in his city. What inspired you to play football in the first place?
It was a sport that my family always played. My brother played it, my dad played it, and they all played at the Division I level. So that means they set the standard high for me, and I wanted to outdo them and get to the NFL. So everything I did was to compete against them and be better than they were.
So throughout your football journey, what advice do you wish you would have got that you want to give to someone else?
I would say learn to redirect your anger, learn how to control your emotions. I thought that was something I struggled with as a kid, not really learning how to control my emotions versus kind of suppressing them, but actually using them as fuel, using them to motivate you to do better.
So I know you have a nonprofit. Go ahead and tell me a little bit about that and what it's for.
My nonprofit that I started is in memory of my best friend who died in August. The nonprofit name is Kevy's Vision Project. And it's really just being able to give back and do things that he wanted to do. He always wanted to give back. He always wanted to help the people around him. So I mean, that's what we do. We help others. We help the community. We had a Christmas event and just different things like that, being able to help less fortunate families, being able to succeed and feel like they have things going for themselves. We're going to have a scholarship. We have a fundraiser coming up in May, at the end of May, and a lot of the proceeds for that fundraiser are going to go to the scholarship.
If you would like to support Kevy's Vision Project, go to their Instagram to donate.
Speaking of hometown heroes, a former Bulldog found a new home over the weekend. Wide receiver Devonte Adams was traded from the Green Bay Packers to the Las Vegas Raiders. As compensation for the trade, Green Bay will receive a first and second round pick in this year's NFL draft. The Raiders also signed Adams to a 5-year contract extension worth over $141 million. Adams reunites with quarterback Derek Carr, fellow Fresno State Bulldog. Gabe Camarillo is back to give us a little insight on the reunion. Gabe, how do we feel about the Dogs getting back together?
Well, the vibes are high in Las Vegas because of this move that was made. I have to say, me being a Raider fan, I was over the moon, elated, ecstatic, overjoyed. There's a bevy of words I could use to describe my feelings because this is exactly what Derek Carr has been missing since Amari Cooper left town. He's needed a number one wide receiver to really put himself in that category for best quarterbacks in the National Football League. And this puts the Raiders in the category for one of the best teams in the AFC. And it's going to be tough for them because they're going to be in a division that has a Super Bowl champion in the past, like the Kansas City Chiefs. The Denver Broncos upgraded at quarterback with Russell Wilson. And the Chargers upgraded on defense with Khalil Mack to join Joey Bosa. So it's going to be a tough division. By no means is it going to be easy for the Las Vegas Raiders, pardon me, but it's going to be a great thing for Derek Carr to have Devonte Adams at his disposal. You're going to have Josh Jacobs running back wise. He's going to get his 4 yards on the ground. You're going to have Darren Waller at tight end, be another target. But Devonte Adams and Derek Carr have a connection that we saw right here on campus a little less than a decade ago. He was able to put up crazy numbers that even Jake Hayner says are untouchable because Devonte Adams was his guy. Now he's his guy once again.
Well, it's a great day to be a former Dog. Thanks for joining us, Gabe. Fresno State softball opened up conference play this last weekend. The Bulldogs traveled to Boise, Idaho to take on the Mountain West favorite, Boise State Broncos. The Dogs would go on to get swept by the Broncos to start 0-3 in the Mountain West play. Fresno State welcomes San Diego State this weekend to take part in its home opener of conference play.
After the second game was postponed due to weather, the Diamond Dogs took the field Sunday to play a doubleheader against the Wolfpack. Let's take a look back on Sunday's series. Game 1 was decided on a walk-off home run by Josh Lauk. Game 2 nearly ended the same way, as Fresno State tied the game on a line drive RBI single by Zach Morgan. Nevada would answer back in the top of the 10th on a game-winning single from Pat Clawfield. Fresno State would be shut down in the bottom half of the inning. Nevada would answer back in the top of the 10th on a game-winning single from Pat Clawfield. Fresno State would be shut down in the bottom half of the inning. Fresno State will now look to set its footing in the Mountain West Conference as they travel back to San Diego State to take on the San Diego State Aztecs.
Another great week of Fresno State sports has come and gone, so that means it's time for our top 3 plays of the week. I'm Holly Casina. Let's get right into it. Fresno State men's basketball is not done yet, and Deion Stroud is not giving these guys from Eastern Washington a chance dunking on them like this. Moving on to Fresno State softball, they made the trip to Boise, Idaho to start conference play this weekend, and Emery Nielsen was not about to let this ball get past her, leaping at the wall, and that is a robbery in the outfield. Now we've got some Fresno State baseball. Down 2-0 in the bottom of the 9th, Peyton Allen decided to change that with a 2-run bomb to tie the game. Knocking out his second career home run as a Bulldog, it was a brand new ball game in the bottom of the 9th. Game wasn't over yet though until the next at-bat, Josh Lauk knocks one out of the park, back-to-back home runs, little bat flip in there. Game was over, Dogs win 3-2 over Nevada. We've got a little extra highlight here for you. Foul ball into the press box, knocks a hole in the wall, but sports information director is showing some Bulldog fans some love, throwing it back out of the press box to him. It's a great day to be a Dog. Shout out Travis Blanchin. And that's a wrap on our Fresno State Plays of the Week. We will see you next time on Focus on Sports. I'm Holly Casina, and as always, go Dogs. And that's our show.
Thank you for tuning in.
We'll be back next week to bring you more on your weekly Focus on Sports.